With trembling hands, I reach for the scattered photographs off the pavement.
Oh my god! What the fuck did it do to her? Oh my god! Like her fucking rib cage was fucking tore open!
Hey guys, it's Katie and welcome back to The Letter. In the last episode, we continue in Rebecca's chapter. We declined the invitation with Luke to go out for dinner, and we go meet up with Ashton back at Samwell Residences. And we continue to lower Rebecca's and Ashton's relationship. Ashton offers to come to the party with us, though, which was surprising because we're trying to lower the relationship, but he still agreed to come with us. The next morning, we head over to the hospital. Ashton told us that they're going to be taking her out of her coma, and when they do, she ends up having a seizure or something like that, so they have to put her back into an induced coma. And when Ash sees this, he kind of walks away from Rebecca and Zach and wants to be alone. He really loves Isabella and he doesn't want to see that happening to her. So I decide to let Ash have his space, and Rebecca and Zach talk for a little bit. We get into Ashton's chapter and him and Rebecca have a fight. We decide to go to the park to meet up with Professor Andrew, and we tell him that we've gotten taken off of our case. And, it's the same as my original playthrough. He says that, as long as he's not putting himself in danger, and he talks about the professor's wife and stuff like that. But as they are talking, Ashton remembers the things that Isabella was saying to them the night at the movie house, and he puts two and two together, and he kind of leaves the professor to go to BRC to investigate. He lies to Seb, which is the security officer. He says that he's an employee of BRC and that he forgot his access card and stuff like that. So Seb ends up letting him into the building. So Ashton is by himself and he's doing all the investigating on his own. So the ghost woman still comes after him. When he leaves, he goes over to the park and he ends up spending the night there. The next day, he heads over to Rebecca's to see if she's there, and he tries to get a hold of Zach. So let's continue where we left off. Relief washes over me as soon as the call ends. Normally, I don't let myself a moment of respite in times like this. Gotta stay alert. Rebecca's still out there, has yet to return any of my messages. But for the moment, I relish in it. This is probably the first time I've permitted myself to do so since last night. Even the muscles in my shoulders have been complaining from all the tension I've taken on. It still annoys me that all I can do right now is grit my teeth and trudge back to Isabella's apartment. Useless. That's what I am in the face of this. A mad dash around Luxbourne and Anselm isn't going to help things. It's not like I'll simply stumble across them on the side of the road during a drive. The city's a too big place for one person to go searching for only two people.
That'd be like finding a needle in a haystack.
With one last frustrated glance towards the open skies, I prepare myself for the long wait. I might have already grown used to this, but the waiting will always be the hardest part. More so when it's the people you care about, and sure enough, boredom strikes minutes later, followed closely by anxiety. I need to be doing something, but what? I've already gone through those papers from BRC last night, twice in fact, and I'm still at a dead end. If Rebecca were here, hell, if only Isabella is here. Unconsciously, my attention drifts towards the closed door of her apartment, and it hits me the second my eyes land on it. A split second of idea. I didn't bother looking into this, because all this time I've assumed it's an accident. But Cooper died. Isabella would have most likely received all the files for the Ermengarde mansion. In fact, she might not need to. They were partners, right? It's no longer a trainee-mentor thing. They both likely have the same copies of the documents. She might still be keeping some in her room. something she hasn't been able to give us because of the accident. However, immediately after that thought forms, guilt also rears its head. The fact that I'm thinking about breaking into her apartment leaves an uneasy twinge in my stomach. It's wrong. All of it is wrong, inappropriate on so many levels of propriety I adhere to. If she's here, I won't even consider this. Really now. But if she's here, will she allow it? My gaze swivels back to the door. It's as if the thing's inviting me. One thing's for sure, however. Knowing her, she'll do any possible means if it'll save her friends from this curse. She can be stubborn like that sometimes, and it's enough to harden my resolve. So, muttering a silent apology to her and swallowing my guilt, I reach up for my bobby pins and begin my work on the lock. Like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, Isabella. Please forgive me to breaking into your apartment." I like how he does that. In under a minute, the knob clicks, and I quietly slip into her apartment. Whatever I'm to find at the end of this, I hope it'll point me in the right direction. Despite her aunt having brought most of her personal stuff to the hospital, her room's still a mess of things she has accumulated over the years. Papers, instant noodle cups, photographs, and posters all over the room. No matter where you look at this, the place simply has Isabella written in it. Just 5 years and she's left this big of a mark in our lives. I'd be lying if I say her presence didn't change a lot of things. In Zach, in Rebecca, in me. However, there's no time to reminisce about all this. As nice and nostalgic these memories are, there's work to do, things to find, if there's even any in here. I won't know that by simply standing here, acting nostalgic. Wasting no time, I head straight for her study table, where a chaos of papers and folders clutter the top. There are instant noodle cups still, plus a few empty pens and crumpled paper littering the table. All points of interest in the room, but my focus veers on the laptop first. No malice intended, I'm simply looking for work files. Besides, I doubt she has anything to hide, and if it still means anything, that's exactly why Isabella has always worn her heart on her sleeve. Genuine, uninhibited, open, free. While it has often gotten her into all sorts of trouble, her candidness, that wholehearted look she has always displayed and carried with her, are things I will never have a reason to doubt. Others will say it's her warmth that draws people to her, or her cheer. Neither are wrong, but neither is the whole truth to her either. Because those who have never bothered to look beyond the surface will never see it, see her, see someone earnest, someone who has always meant well, albeit her underlying stubbornness. See how she loves, an affection that is altogether both warm, steadfast, and unflinching. In many ways, for a lot of reasons, she's the kind of person I want to be around with, who made me feel I am still worth something. You never meet many people like that, not in my line of work, always with something to hide, always with something to lie about. Eventually, when you meet too many of them, you change too. You become like them. Perhaps the biggest thing I regret about this is I never had the chance to change that before The laptop finally boots up and loads the operating system, although as soon as it does, I am greeted by her password screen. Ooh, are we gonna hack into her computer? For a few minutes, I try my hand at a couple of obvious ones she might use. 1 2 3 4 5 6 0 0 0 0 0 0. Password 1. QWERTY. Admin. Cinnamon rolls. None of it works.
At least she knows how to use the most common ones.
What about Backcat? He didn't try that. This adds a new layer of problem, though knowing her, she must have written it somewhere. Not in the mess of papers here, but someplace she can quickly check. It's probably something she'll bring with her, not necessarily a diary, but close to one. I've noticed one on her person several times before. Never saw its contents, but I've seen her write regularly on them while waiting for a meal in a restaurant or during lulls in a conversation. I just hope she's left what she's written her password somewhere here. It's the drawers I start with, from the bottom one. It takes a while going through the pile in each of the 3 layers, the bottom 2 yielding nothing but old records she's been keeping. The 3rd one, though, yields one closer to what I'm looking for. All the pages have already been filled.
Probably why she dumped it here.
Carefully flipping through each reveals notes from a meeting with a client. Sometimes there are doodles at the edge of the pages, others taking up an entire spread. All old ones and nothing of use to me right now, but on the last page, on a sheet folded in half. Opening it reveals a doodle of the 3 of us, Zach, Rebecca, and me, from how we looked about 4 or 5 years ago, give or take. Aw, that's so sweet. She's so cute. At the bottom, the words, scrawled in a neat script after a few telling assurances. 707 Devlin, 2011. Aw, it's probably something having to do with her and Ash. Despite myself and how dismal everything going on at present, a laughter slips from my lips, uninhibited and without care for who might hear. 707 Devlin Court. I remember handling that case from 5 years ago. Even got a recommendation from Inspector Abigail and a promotion to detective surgeon after wrapping it up. Some morbid case of a dead husband being stuffed in a sofa by his own wife, and at the heart of it, Isabella. Fresh off the boat, selling the first property assigned to her. Some sixth sense of humor the universe must have, huh? Though in hindsight, if all that shit didn't happen, the 4 of us wouldn't even be together. I wouldn't have met her. Yet, in the end, I can't even tell her. Instead, choosing to hide behind teasing words and friendly jibes, because I'm a coward who can't even convey his feelings properly. Who can't even face the person he's become? Granted, it's not yet too late for her. She may still recover, but now there's only regret.
A badge, a gun, and I can't even protect my own friends.
To other people, these may just be a series of letters, but to us, to the people pictured on this page, they mean a whole different thing. Apparently, it also means a great deal to her, one sentiment that goes far beyond some sense of nostalgia. Enough to also use it as the password for her own laptop. Hoping to find more information, Ashton checked Isabella's apartment for anything that would help. He merely discovered vague clues, stuff that Isabella had been looking into before her untimely death. Death? She didn't even die yet. She's in a coma, game. Don't scare me like that. But if anything, what he saw in the room hardened his resolve. Did she die? I have no idea what's happening right now. I know in the last episode she was still at the hospital. True enough, it works, and soon I have access on all of her work files. Nothing significant, though. Nothing I haven't already found last night. Perhaps the most noteworthy out of everything is the logs she left, that night. She has taken note of every client who attended the open house and worked on the mansion, even the outside contractors. Although for what purpose, I have no idea. Should I have also looked into those last night? They didn't seem that important, though. If anything, I'll get them more looking into the deaths of those employees than some random people. Adding these clients to my list will only broaden my scope. But what if Isabella's onto something here, like with the letter? Shit. There's no more room for regret, however. All of a sudden, a knock breaks the moment, and just as fast, and my attention shifts towards the source. Before I can even wallow in my mistakes, I hastily put everything back together, turn off Isabella's laptop, and open the door. Hopefully, I'll be greeted by some good news this time. Unrelated frustrations aside, once I step out of the room and accept the call, the stone that has been stuck in my stomach simultaneously lodges itself up my throat. There, in the hallway, stands Zach, his hand raised ready for another knock. Although he's not at his most presentable at the moment, ruffled and drenched with sweat as he is, relief quickly washes over me like a tide. He's still panting when he pushes me aside and heads in.
You said it was urgent. Did anything happen? Is it Becca?
Everyone's fine. Well, Becca's not here. She went somewhere this morning and hasn't answered any of my calls yet.
So, nothing's wrong? Why'd you call me here for then? And what are you even doing here? You know Bella wouldn't be happy you're snooping around here. It's still hers.
My explanation can wait. He has a lot of explaining to do. The fact that he went to Ansel alone for some godforsaken reason warrants a proper one. Ghost or not, he's already been given a warning. It frustrates me to no end. This might be the plan he mentioned the last time we spoke. I get that he's worried about Hannah Wright. Somehow they become friends, but that's not the issue here. Not when there's a murderous ghost who might go after one of us at any given time. Sure, Zach made it here in one piece. By some dumb luck, he's alright, and this takes one off the list of people I need to worry about. Frankly, as annoyed as I am, I can't just stay angry at him when I look at the situation that way. Hell, if that call didn't connect in that exact minute, there might have been a chance he won't be standing here. This is just a blessing in itself. Although, first things first, some things still need to be discussed. Okay. You're okay. Except when I open my mouth, the only thing that spills from it is my own relief. Despite myself, despite the rational part of my brain screaming everything wrong about Zach's neat little plan. We've had so many close calls with just a single night. Zach showing up in Isabella's doorstep, alive, whole, and unharmed. I might as well take comfort in that while I still can.
You're okay.
You did tell me not to do anything stupid.
Suddenly, the whole room feels too heavy, and all I'm able to do is drop down on the couch. A headache also threatens to burst in the same moment, or perhaps this is what release from anxiety feels like. Regardless, I reach up a hand to pinch the bridge of my nose, even if it'll likely do nothing to alleviate the impending pain.
Christ, you were right there! We have this stupid curse thing going on, and you were right there! You just walked up inside a private property! Those people can easily sue you for breaking and entering, and that's the least of it.
I know, Ash. But I can't just leave things as they are. I've got to do something.
God damn it, Zach, I was worried.
Unexpectedly, he laughs, not the half-hearted sort he makes when he's awkward or coming up with an excuse. A genuine one, before my annoyance grows again and I snap at him, though he suddenly catches me in a headlock. His arms looping around my neck while he grinds his knuckles against my skull. Helpless, I squirm under his grip in protest. Even then, it's hard to do so when you're up against a 6-footer.
Zach!
Aw, he's worried. Why didn't you say so? That cool act ain't gonna fool me anymore.
I like Zach and Ashton's friendship a lot. I really do. It's cool that he calls him his brother and they can just, talk like best friends. It's like with him and Rebecca, he's like calling her ma'am, and it seemed like they're more acquaintances, but him and Ash are like best friends.
Let go!
He relents soon enough, though only after he's done ample damage in my hair. I hate it when he does that. But for a few moments there, the tense mood finally lightened up, and everything felt like how it used to be before this whole mess began. Makes appreciating little moments like this easier. Still...
Seriously, Zach, why are you even there?
Told you already. I was looking for you.
Why would I even go there?
Well, you mentioned the plan. I assume that's where you went since that's where Isabella found the letter.
He sounds so different. Like, I don't know why the game does that. Like, the voices will, be deeper, or they'll sound, higher pitched, or, it really catches me off guard sometimes.
Sorry. I was really at a dead end.
The logic in it stuns me into silence, to say the least. Then I remember his hesitance, the tone he has taken before agreeing to go here, and all at once my anger from what he's done wanes. Zachary arrival at Samwell, tired and frazzled. Upon learning that he had come from the Ermengarde mansion that morning, Ashton could only express his relief that he was safe, and amused Zachary teased him for worrying, much to the other man's embarrassment. Partly, this is my fault for keeping things vague. I can't berate him for assuming that, when I've only left him with vague answers.
You could have called me.
I did.
I didn't receive any, and my phone was with me.
You're kidding, right? I was at it the whole night.
The whole atmosphere in the room changes in 2 heartbeats. Back again to the tension-riddled one plaguing us. Zachary stares at me like I've grown another head, the expression in his eyes questioning, asking for a confirmation, like my word can't be trusted. Not that I'm holding it against him. I can't even believe the things coming out of my mouth these past few hours.
Please tell me you're joking.
You can check my phone logs if you want. I really didn't get any. But do it later. It's more important that you hear what happened at BRC last night. Zach, just as I was about to leave, I saw...
I never get to finish that. Abruptly, my phone rings again, blaring its badly sang ringtone throughout the whole room. Zach pauses, waiting, when I pull it up to check the caller ID.
It's Becca. I'll tell her to get here as soon as she can. Excuse me.
Without another word, I slip out of the room and answer the call. However, the tone she assumes isn't what I'm hoping to hear. Ragged, a bit out of breath, there's a tinge of urgency in it. Listening to her from my side of the line makes it seem like she has just run a marathon prior to this call.
Becca, where?
I got your message. What happened?
Nothing. Yet. Where are you?
Downtown. I had to make a quick visit to the library.
Listen, Ash, that thing Isabella told us about. There's something you guys need to...
Please tell me you didn't... Whatever.
It sounds like she was like right outside with him instead of on the phone. It was weird.
Save it for later. I'm at Salemwell. If you can get here as soon as possible, that'd be really great. This is... related to that.
You're there?
Yeah, Zach too.
With a quick press of the button, I switch on the loudspeakers and step back into Isabella's apartment. I hold out the phone towards him, giving it 2 shakes, urging him to speak. He's still carrying a worried look on his face. This should ease that.
Rebecca's asking for you.
Hello, Rebecca. Odd morning we're having, eh?
Hey, Zachary. What's happening over there? Is this something I should be worried about?
We'll tell you once you get here. Please, hurry.
Like, the only thing that sucks about the situation is, like, I wish I could skip over it, but, like, the dialogue has shifted just a little bit because Isabella's not here. So I feel like I should still show it. So if you guys, whoever's watching or whoever has been enjoying the videos and doesn't want to see it, just let me know down in the comments. I'd appreciate it.
I don't like the sound of that, Ash. But I'm on my way. Give me a few minutes. I'm driving.
She mumbles a goodbye, then hangs up. Becca's the last person I need to account for, yet that call left an even more strained tension in the room. Thankfully, we don't have to linger in it for too long. She only takes a matter of minutes to get here, and the second she steps into the room, apologies spill out of her mouth first.
I'm sorry, Ash. Were you two waiting long?
It doesn't matter. What's important is you're here.
Not burnt to a crisp or brutally murdered somewhere. Whole, alive. Although she seems a bit shaken, it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. At least now, I can relax, ease the pressure off my shoulders, if only by some. But the minute she closes the door, she winces, a small reaction. Zach doesn't even catch it. It sets a precedence for a casual observation nevertheless. A closer look at her reveals a much more disheveled than usual, hair in a bit of a mess, probably flattened in a hurry. The back of her dress also shows stains of dirt in places it rarely gets into. She's also leaning more on using her left arm. She's right-handed. Perhaps the most telling is the slight limp she has once she leads herself into the room. It all spouts a hate full of questions. What exactly happened and how she ended up in that state? Pretty sure a simple trip to the library won't do that. she's like, I feel like she's like holding something. I should put something in the video. That'd be so funny. I grab her arm before she can walk past, carefully to avoid hurting her, in case there really is an injury. Seems like it at first glance, but you can't be sure until after a careful examination has been made. I suspect some bruising at least. Although minor internal fractures aren't out of the equation, they have a nasty way of staying hidden. Sure enough, Becca tenses immediately upon contact. Tries to pull back, although the sudden gesture only elicits another wince, forcing her to a halt. She turns to me, her eyes searching mine for answers, and doesn't appear quite pleased with the interruption, or the fact someone has brought it to light. But that someone also has to make sure. Please tell me you didn't do something dangerous.
Please tell me you did not just do something dangerous today.
Yeah, get it down. Isabella's isn't really that low on Ashton's. I thought I made their relationship bad too. She went into a coma too fast, so I wasn't able to like really decrease my relationship with her. So, dang. Before that frown even completely forms in her face, I already know that somehow this whole questioning has started off on the wrong foot.
What are you implying?
That you're running blindly into things?
This is what I warned Zach against the other day, and now you're doing the exact same thing.
I know what I'm getting into, Ashton. Besides, it was just a trip to the library.
That arm injury and the limp tell a completely different story.
She caught me off guard. What? Did you think I went looking for her with her book in hand? I'm not stupid, Ash. And what do you want me to do? Stand here? Just let that bloody ghost do whatever she wants to us?
No, I want you to be careful. We don't know what we're dealing with here yet. I've yet to figure everything out, so...
You're not the only one who can do things here, Ash. Quit playing the damn hero, you're not. You should be thankful someone's even trying to help. Especially after it took one person ending up in a coma for you to come around. You're the one who kept brushing all of this off. In fact, you're the one who dismissed Isabella first.
Dang. The last one feels like a slap in the face, really. Rebecca has a knack for being brutally honest with her opinions. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not dissing Rebecca as a character at all. I just think, like, her slamming the door and, like, you know, just having that anger is just... It's just a very negative thing to me, and I just really don't like when people do that. It's not that I have a problem with her voicing her opinions or, you know, telling people how she feels or stuff like that. I think that's great. I like to be honest with people too. I like people to say it to my face if they have a problem with me. I like to confront things head on too. I'm not saying I dislike Rebecca as a character at all. I know, you know, sometimes I'm getting irritated by her slamming the door or something like that, but I don't hold grudges for very long. I don't hate people for very long. It's just kind of like out the window with me. It just at the very moment it irritated me, but you know, I still like Rebecca as a character. I really do. I think this group of friends fits perfectly together. I mean, you know, Rebecca is like kind of like a mother hen, and you know, she does worry about people a little bit too much where she's sacrificing her own, you know, needs or feelings. Like, for example, Ashton confessed to Isabella when Zach tried to come and comfort her or ask her what's wrong. You know, she's a very defensive person. Like, she has a wall built up for people not to see her feelings. So, yeah. We've often clashed at times, yet I still respect her for it. Her opinion is as valuable as every other person's I've let into my life, and this time she's right. I've made a huge mistake, but damn it, I'm trying.
And you didn't? Back at the movie house, you were agreeing with me.
Guys, chill. No blaming anyone. It's all in the past. Just let this go. We have more important matters to deal with, yeah?
She still should have ran. That woman's not something you can hit with a book.
Believe me, Ashton, I did. Then a bloody cart came out of nowhere. Do you have any idea how painful being hit with one is? But you know what? If it weren't for a damn book, you wouldn't be yelling at me right now. I would be dead.
A sobering silence descends in the room. Instantly, both of our anger have been tempered as the gravity of that one word hits all of us. To Ashton's relief, Rebecca later called back. Soon, she showed up at Samwell looking worse for wear. When the detective pointed it out, annoyed that she might have also ignored his warnings, the redhead was quick to retaliate. Fortunately, before it brewed into a fight, Zachary stepped in. Dead. How many more close calls do we have to go through? How many deaths do we have to witness? How long can we keep this up? We're bound to break at one point. No normal human being with a sane mind can last like this, losing people important to them, one by one, right in front of them. I've already come close to losing Isabella. I'm not losing Zach and Rebecca, too.
Let's leave these issues for now. There are some things, a lot of things, you guys need to know.
Well, if this is gonna be long, you better get a quick remedy for that arm. Let me fetch you one. But no more shouting at each other, aight? If Bella were here, she'd be mad at you two.
That marks the end of it, at least for the time being. And as soon as Zach returns and hands Rebecca the remedy he promised, we get straight down to business. Surprisingly easy, considering the rigid air in the room. Although there's some tense fumbling for words at first, the whole conversation gains steam once what happened last night at BRC has been put on the table. All at once, everything we've brushed off, carelessly ignored, and rudely dismissed have been laid out for close scrutiny. Zach's encounters with the woman in his dreams, Rebecca's close brushes with death every time she appears, the dread, the fear, the terror she brings out even in the bravest of us. Everything. Because no matter how bleak this all seems, there must still be a way out of this. There has to be, logic be damned. Or at least, that's what I would like to believe. Yet, even as the cold morning light shifts to the warm hues of late afternoon, and eventually night, none of this still makes a fucking damn sense. Darkness has fallen, but we're still nowhere near figuring things out. If anything, we're more at a loss than we've ever been before we started this. The next thing I know, frustration rears its ugly head, and the sheets of paper I've been holding smacks the table harder than I've intended. The sound of it echoes loudly in the small room, and everyone simply falls silent. Along with it is a release of another long-held breath. Perhaps the 100th since this morning.
We aren't getting anywhere at this rate.
Chill, Ash. You're the one who picked out these files. What are we supposed to be looking for here?
A pattern, something that might hint a way out of this. The guys from BRC have probably also read that dumb paper.
Not so dumb if it can kill all of us.
Very funny, Z-Man. Anyway, like I said, these guys from BRC have probably also read that dumb paper. They've been working on the mansion before the open house, but Isabella found it during.
Jack's just like looking at me like, how you doing? How you doing, man?
Maybe there's more than one of it. Even my friend, the priest from the cathedral. He's been acting strangely. I visited him a few days ago, and he was hysterical. They think he's sick, but I have a feeling what the real case might be. There might be more than one of that paper going around that we don't know about. More to this. I mean, look at all this stuff Rebecca brought with her. Apparently our teachers have been lying to us all these years. So who knows?
Hey, now don't blame us. Blame the bloody books they wrote.
Sighing, I reach for one of the papers Rebecca has brought with her and carefully inspects the words printed on the page. A copy of an old newsprint from even before the city has been founded. Just a typical newsprint, but my eyes do linger at the illustration of the noblewoman's servant.
Any ideas why they're keeping this in the restricted section?
Rebecca merely shrugs at my inquiry, but her own annoyance seeps through her answer.
How should I know? I wasn't even aware we have archives that go as far back as this. This is before the city was even founded. As a matter of fact, if it weren't for Andrew's help, I wouldn't have gotten my hands on any of it. Maybe they didn't think it would be important to talk about it. After all, this is more Anselm's than ours.
That or some old bugger's hiding something.
Why else would these tell a completely different story? Revising what's written seems a useless endeavor on its own when you have nothing to gain from it. Thanks to those, we're also missing a lot of things here. Somehow, even with all this information in hand, it still feels like there's something we're overlooking. All we have to go with is the mansion, the letter, and all the stuff selfish people have been keeping from the public. But what else? Where this all started? The Ermengarde mansion? Will bringing the letter back there fix everything? Fuck. How do I? The mansion's a private property now. Can't just waltz in there. I'd rather die before I even think of begging Wright to let me in and investigate the place. One thing's very clear after these last 2 days, however. We're not safe anywhere, and I have to act fast if I want to keep my own friends alive. We can't keep running away. Sooner or later, she'll get us like she almost did with Isabella. Before that happens, I have to put an end to this. Sighing, I stand up and stretch out the kinks in my back after several hours of sitting. We've been at this for too long. A break is needed. Time to let everything to sink in, or else we'll all burn out. I know I will, and it's another thing I cannot let happen when they're all counting on me like this. Albeit unspoken, it's in their eyes as they look up at me waiting.
We've been at this for hours. We should take a break for a few...
The rest of it never makes it out of my mouth as something heavy and grating sounds from the far end of the room. A harsh booming noise rending through the eardrums of everyone in the room. All at once, the two of them are on their feet, while I quickly palm for my gun on the table. However, before I can pull it up and remove the safety, the whole racket stops. Stillness descends in the room, and amidst the sudden hush, the three of us exchange anxious glances. So much for a break.
I don't like the sound of that. At all.
Gather everything.
No questions asked. They waste no time getting to work, piling up the documents we've been reading through. But before we can even finish, another noise ups the tension already gripping the place. Suddenly, the lights go out and the wardrobe at the end of the room rattles, as if something inside begs for freedom. Cautiously, eyes glued to it, I take a step forward and release the lock from my gun. I'm no trigger-happy person. I'm not even sure if this will work on a ghost. But right now, its smooth surface against my palm, with the trigger on my finger, provides the closest thing I have to relief as I approach the closet.
Ashton, I have everything. What are you doing?
I don't think that's a good idea. We should just...
Worried as they both are, they immediately stop at the slight raise of my hand. But the edge is there while they all huddle in the space between the door and the room. In case this goes south, whatever I find inside, they have enough time and space to run from their position. In 2 deep breaths, I've crossed the room and stood in front of the closet. Whatever's inside has yet to stop thrashing. Instead, it has now moved to banging at the door, louder and louder the longer I dally. Another shallow breath. A glance at my companions. A nod. Something creaks. Then, in the next moment, I'm grasping at the handles and swinging the doors wide open to reveal... nothing. Right away, I part the clothes hanging on it, and still none. No ghost. No woman. Not a single trace of whoever's inside. Confused, I glance back towards Zach and Rebecca, only to see them mirroring the same expression on my face. The noise has finally stopped, but I'm quite sure it isn't my imagination. Or maybe it is, and I'm just too strung up that my head's now making things up. Whatever the case is, we need to get out of here as soon as possible. This only confirms we aren't safe anywhere. Without bothering to close it, I move back, ready to leave, adrenaline now coursing through every vein in my body. In the next second, I'm barking orders and...
We should go. You two, we need to...
I'm sent sprawling on my back as something cold catches my ankle and yanks. The resulting fall knocks the wind out of me. Pain racks my whole spine and the back of my head as it collides against floor, with force enough to dislodge my own brain from my skull. A moment lasts before stars fade from my vision, and then I sense it. Cold tendrils twisting around my ankles, the smell of vile rot assaulting my nose. Nauseating, sickening, a foul smell draining every feeling in my body. The moment her horrid laughter, still as unpleasant and vicious as the last time I've heard it, reaches my ears, my eyes snap open.
God, there she is.
She got a lazy eye here, man. Perhaps it's just an experience. Or maybe my mind's still attempting to comprehend this. Regardless, the minute my eyes land on her, the whole of my body freezes. The gun in my hand turns useless as my grip on it slackens. It's in the manner her gaze bores on me, I'll say. The look of utter hatred and malice. I've seen it loads of times. From suspects, mostly murderers, who never regretted their actions despite being caught. This is the face of someone you can no longer reason with. And I know, the moment she laughs again and starts dragging me towards her, it's already going to be the...
Ashton, snap out of it!
No, I can't die here. Not yet. The haze fades from my mind and instinct kicks in then and there.
Everyone out! Get out! Get out of here!
With one powerful tug, I yank my foot out of her grip and scramble back to my feet, ignoring the piercing wails she fills the room with. Within the span of a second, I'm gunning for the door, grabbing the wrist of the first person my hand can reach and leading the two of them out. Into the hallway, down the flight of steps, and right inside my car. I waste no time flooring the gas pedal the second the last person closes the door behind them, and in a short while, I'm driving us out of Samwell. I don't even entertain the thought of winding down just yet, even as the last of the woman's painful cries fade into the night. October 31st, Monday. A dreary downpour starts off the Monday. With the help of his remaining friends, Ashton tried to find a way to free themselves of the curse, piecing together what they currently know, to no avail. Exhausted, he excused himself for some fresh air, but not before a ruckus, coming from Isabella's closet, broke the silence of the room. Although it doesn't last for more than an hour, the dark clouds lift just after the sun peeks over the horizon. Brief as it is, the rain has significantly dampened the park's usual cheery vibe. Mornings like this often mark the start of another bad week. An arrest gone wrong, another investigation leading to a dead end, or some truly fucked up shit being called in. Like that one time I was dispatched to a scene where a guy gouged his own eyeball out and almost ate it. Who would do something like that? Like, I'm just gonna gouge out my eyeball and just eat it, you know? Was a few chews away from swallowing it, in fact. Lost my dinner that day.
Fun times.
Course, I doubt anything can top getting cursed by a damn chain letter of all things. This is the sort of stupid thing people pass along as a prank through emails and text messages, for fuck's sake. A ghost chasing after you just puts the icing on that cake. So far, all we've done is run, snoop about, read stuff, and run again. It frustrates me to no end how we're still no closer to an answer. Well, and I want to check the branching tree real quick. So that led us over here. Down this path. Huh. Interesting. Now I'm back up here. Well, I went up here because I wasn't with Isabella this time. I think, yeah. So, wait. I freaking didn't fail the QTE to get that. Hold on, let me look again. Right here, the QTE. I guess it would end differently if I fail that with just Ashton. So, if I go on this path again, I need to make sure I fail that. I'm going to write a memo of it now. Okay, and then we're over here. And it led back onto the main path. So can I skip this? Oh, okay, good. I can finally skip stuff now. Isabella would. Well, she would complain about how dark the bags under my eyes were getting, and about how I reek and how I need to shower pronto. Not necessarily a bad end. The chatter reaches my ears first, halting my movements. Sure enough, when I glance up, I find them, Zach and Rebecca, just as they've entered the park grounds, bags of convenience store food in hand. After last night's flight from Samwell, we've elected to stay the night here, unsure if our own homes will still be safe. Normally, we'd all be adverse to the idea of spending the night outside like this, but panic and distress has tainted that decision. It's not like any of us has gotten an ounce of sleep anyway. On the off chance one of us did, it only lasted but a second, or it's a fitful one. But looking at them right now, from afar, it's easy to mistake them for just friends on a day out. Zach's booming laughter echoes as makes vague, wild gestures with his hands while talking. Something funny or amusing probably, because it's soon followed by Rebecca's giggles. Their voices fill the atmosphere with the light air, temporarily easing off the disheartening mood. It's easy to pretend we're not knee-deep in a life-and-death situation the way they're acting now. Easy to forget one of us is still fighting for her life, desperately holding on to it because she can be quite stubborn like that. If anything, it's only their appearance that betrays that mask, slightly disheveled, bags under their eyes, an exhausted curve in their shoulders, and dragging footsteps. But the closer they get, the more obvious these signs are to the naked eye. Zach tosses an energy drink my way the moment the distance allows it. Rebecca hands me the other bag she's holding before seating herself on a bench nearby. The scent of warm food immediately wafts from the bag when I open it, carried further by a passing breeze. Whatever sweet sauce they drizzled over the pork wannabe, it smells heavenly. Hell, even the sorry-looking vegetables seem appetizing. Despite myself, without even checking exactly what this is, hunger swiftly takes over every rational thought. I dig in without waiting for them to start. Both of them appear to be of the same mind too. Soon enough, they also start with theirs. No casual talk while we fill our empty stomachs. Exhausted as we all are, food is something we can't forgo. Starvation dulls the thinking, weakens the body. If we are to survive this, we're going to have to take care of ourselves first. Isabella would never let me hear the end of it if she was here, though perhaps it is for the better she isn't here to see us. Knowing her, she'll worry, despite what goes unsaid between us. In a matter of minutes, we're done and dumping the empty cartons on a nearby waste bin. Along with it is the shift in the mood. Back to dismal. Back to the problem at hand. The comfortable atmosphere from minutes ago was nice while it lasted. Admittedly, I've missed these kinds of moments between us. We never had the chance, always busy on some project or work, the things we've taken for granted. Now we're realizing how valuable they are. With one of us absent, the world has an awful sense of humor. While the one we've just had is short-lived, it's another thing I want to look forward to if we ever free ourselves from this damn curse. I'd like to believe there's a way. For now, we have to focus back on the present. This. Dead people. The letter. The curse. It's not simple to bring these up, but necessary.
Where to now?
It's not a question directed at anyone in particular, but they both look to me as if my face has all the answers in the world. I used to think so, back when I was at the top of my game, and I'm still sure of everything. Now, there's just uncertainty sullying whatever decision I come up with. At some point, logic has simply stopped working here, and we've started grasping at straws. Along with exhaustion, fatigue, and stress, we have enough kindling to get a fire burning. Oh, so we still get in a fight without Isabella. The not-so-pleasant kind of fire.
We can't stay here. We'd be sitting ducks if we remain in one place.
All right, so we just keep running like this?
We don't really have a choice, Rebecca. We can't even go back to our own homes. No matter where we go or hide, she's gonna get us.
It still doesn't change anything. You just said it. Nowhere's safe. But dying is the last thing I want to do right now, Zach. Not to a stupid chain letter. Someone was too gullible to pick up and show everyone.
Don't you think it's a bit too late to start laying the blame on someone else? It's not even helping at this point.
Who said anything about blaming anyone? Do you really think I don't blame myself for this as well?
So what, her and Ashton are getting into a fight now, not her and Isabella?
Isabella warned all of us. In the first place, we wouldn't even be having this problem if you'd only...
Oh, so she is blaming him. All right.
Will you two cut it out? This ain't the place for I don't know, petty squabbles.
Oh, let her say it, Z-Man. Nothing has stopped her from saying what she wants before. Knowing her, I'm pretty sure she has loads of things to say about this.
If you don't want to get caught in it, then stay out of this, Zachary.
And leave it to the two of you to hash it out here?
Zach, you don't have to...
You really want that? Really? Because I'm quite sure this ain't gonna turn out pretty whether or not I stay here. Because every single time, the two of you get into an argument, even before, I have to be the one keeping this whole dumb friendship intact.
Dang, Zach.
I'm honestly getting tired of this. For once, can't you two hold a conversation without fighting when things don't go your way?
Tell him, Zach. Tell him.
Then go ahead, please. No one's telling you to stay. This is just like your movie again.
Ooh, Rebecca.
Oh, this and that are two different things, Rebecca. And you know what? Right now, I'd rather see my movie flop twice over than go through this.
All right, that's enough! Both of you, stop this!
They both falter to silence at my words, and an awkward, stifling mood descends between the three of us. I do not mean to shout, to snap at them, to add to that kindling, not in a moment when any time, anywhere she might get to one of us. We're all in the same boat, yet here we are, playing the blame game. Little by little we're falling apart, caving into the pressure, to the bleak situation we're trapped in. Did that ghost mean for this to happen? To divide each of so she can pick us off one by one right after? Who knows? Anything's possible now if her kind can exist. With the fire burning between us, rising as high as it does now, I'm afraid, deathly afraid, that the possibility might come sooner than I can figure all of this out. Fuck, I still can't think straight. I can't even believe the next words coming out of my own mouth, that out of everyone, I have to be the one saying these to them. This is more than their forte than mine, keeping the peace, placating everyone, while I unintentionally aggravate people with badly chosen words. Funny how fast the tables have been turned just after one unfortunate incident. How am I even supposed to cope?
If we all want to get out of this mess in one piece, we're gonna have to cool our heads first.
Before my own temper flares, I walk away and slide back into my car. After spending the night at the local park, Ashton and his friends tried to figure out what their next step will be. However, coupled with fatigue and stress, the conversation quickly went downhill. Frustrated, Ashton walked out, suggesting they cool their heads first. If the door slams with more force than needed, I'd like to blame it on the pent-up anger boiling up in me. I'm not even sure what or who I'm angry at. The ghost? At them? Or maybe at myself for being this useless? Because despite none of them saying it, I know, goddammit. They're still counting on me. In spite of my failures, of every harsh word I've uttered, or how unbearable I can be as a friend. It's there when the tension after the argument finally breaks, and one after another, they follow me and get in the car. It's in concerned glances they shoot my way when I start the engine without a word and drive off. It's in their silence, a heavy gift, their unwavering trust. Yet, it's one I'm more than willing to carry, even through my own exhaustion, if only to keep them safe. In the city of 68,000 strangers, they're the only ones I have left. Though, in all seriousness, a good rest is still our best bet for now. Thinking with an exhausted brain is almost as good as running around in circles. We might as well just throw ourselves at that ghost and be done with this. The local Irish pub may not be the best place to hang around when one hasn't slept a wink or you're stressed. More often than not, it's loud.
You trying to drink your worries away? Like last time? That was screwed up.
For the sake of the ones we've almost lost. If I can help it, I don't want her to wake up to this nightmare. It'll only break her. She'll blame herself. It's just funny how it took all of this to spur these kinds of thoughts in me. I can't even remember the last time something like it has occurred to me. How and where do I even start? I'd feel better if I don't have to worry about you. There are only two ways this will end.
This won't really bring her back.
The sun hangs lower when I stumble back into consciousness and drag myself downstairs. Around this time, the patrons usually start to trickle into the main lounge until it reaches a peak around midnight. Today, however, it remains thin. But considering what day it isn't too worrisome for the kind of business G runs. He has always complained about the lack of a decent crowd on a weak start, although he doesn't really begrudge his customers for it. No one wants to start the week with a bad case of a hangover after all, even him, which makes the concerned look he gives me come off a bit too odd. With the kind of danger we're in, this swiftly puts me on the edge, even before sleep completely fades from my mind.
Something wrong, G?
G hums, but there's an undertone of annoyance in it despite his casual and open movements. And only after he finishes wiping a tumbler and carefully settles it face down on the table does he give me an answer. The way he stares back at me honestly makes me squirm. It feels like I'm being stared down by my primary school teacher for sleeping in class again.
Nothing much. Monday's still a slow day for this place. But you might want to check on your friends, kid. Looks like one of them woke up on the wrong side of the bed while you were out.
Another question forms in my head, along with a small confused frown. Though before a single syllable slips past my mouth, he gestures his head on the far side of the pub's main lounge. In a corner, Rebecca paces in deep thought with a scowl on her face. From the looks of it, it appears woke up on the wrong side of the bed is a complete understatement. In fact, I think she might hit the next person who tests her temper. Turns out sleep isn't just what some of us need. Even G appears to understand it. In spite of his efforts to look as unconcerned as possible, there's a tense set on his shoulders. A nervous edge lingers in his eyes as it occasionally flickers over Rebecca. He doesn't want to deal with this, especially at the start of another busy week. Neither do I. Rebecca's mood can be quite volatile. But the imploring gaze G directs at me leaves me with no other choice. It almost feels like he's guilting me into doing something about it. I hate that it's working.
You know how I run this pub, kid. No fist fights, no cat fights, no people in sullen moods, only good booze, bad puns, and off-key singing. Go fix it before it turns into something chaotic.
It's probably not as petty if Rebecca's already in that state, but I give him a nod nevertheless.
Sorry about this, G.
He hums something under his breath for an answer and waves me off, turning away and returning to his work without another word. Even with the lack of a sizable crowd, he likes to keep busy. We're in the same in that regard. Can't remain still, always has to stay moving, doing something, thinking, whatever keeps the brain at work. I leave him to it shortly after. Part of me wants to thank him for all the trouble he has taken for people he barely even knows. Once this is over, I should probably find some way. In the meantime, I have this immediate problem to fix. Gotta get to this before it turns into a shitstorm. The area of the pub she's in is almost deserted. I'm willing to bet my entire life savings that people are staying away only because of the brewing storm. Rebecca can have quite the mood when she's crossed. Whatever pissed her off this time, the way she's glaring at the wall already says everything. Before I can approach and intervene, though, Rebecca soon slumps on the chair. Gingerly, she reaches up to press the bridge of her nose and breathing out a ragged exhale. She only looks like this when stress has drained both of her patience and energy, usually more than her rowdy students do, despite being no stranger to it. In the quietness of the room, I find myself drifting towards her and taking the empty seat next to her. Shortly, she leans her shoulders to mine, like she used to all those years ago. Back when all that mattered to us were grades and what kind of trouble we'll get into the next weekend. No curse, no letter, no ghosts. Just us and whatever our imagination will take us.
How are you holding up?
Barely, but I'll be fine. It's probably just this curse thing getting to me.
That bad, huh?
She makes a face, having been caught in her lie before allowing a small smile to replace it.
Excuse me, you're stuck in this nightmare too.
That's a small smile. that smile's so creepy, Rebecca. I'm sorry. But that smile's pretty creepy.
At least you're not shouting at anyone. That's something you don't see every day. I think you scared G for a bit there.
I just can't wait for this whole thing to be over. That way we can go back to how everything used to be.
You know that's impossible.
A truth. And we both falter into silence in the face of it. Her mouth opens briefly, and I assume she's about to argue her opinion about it. Maybe say something contrary to it. But eventually she simply nods, breathes out, and relaxes her rigid posture, a rare occurrence when she's almost always has something on her mind. Seeing it, a smile spreads across my face, knowing and perhaps a little pleased. It's one thing to know of change. Watching it play out in front of me is an entirely different matter. In that one exchange, I've caught a short, clear glimpse of what has shifted, of what's inevitable. So much has changed throughout the years, we will never be the same person we once were. And perhaps it's for the better. Rebecca notices soon enough, like she always did. Whatever she sees in my face startles her, causing her to jerk away.
Why are you staring at me like that?
Nothing. Don't mind me.
I know that look, Ashton Frey. That's definitely not a nothing. You wouldn't be wearing that expression if you didn't have something on your mind.
Really? It's nothing. It's just that when we were kids, you weren't really the kind of person who spoke her mind. Someone else always had to stand up for you.
Her smile kind of reminds me of that horror movie where it has they have the creepy smiles. I forget what it's called, but yeah, it was a pretty scary movie. It was so crazy. I would suggest watching it if you have it. So
You've changed a lot, Becca.
What did you expect? It's been, what, 17, 18 years?
What I'm trying to say is, I think I like this version of you more.
A beat.
Except when you're mad, and you're yelling, and you're glaring daggers at everyone. You're pretty scary, you know.
Well, don't say that so casually. Also, if you're just going to complain, we might as well just end this talk right now.
See what I mean? Even Z-Man's scared of you. I'd bet my entire salary on it.
She swats at my arm, the gesture light and familiar. It causes us both to burst into peals of laughter afterwards. When was the last time we shared something like this? I can't even remember. It's nice, though. To have another conversation like this, to sit side by side simply enjoying each other's company. I'm not very fond of looking back to the past. Most of it means having to remember unpleasant things for me, but sometimes, coiled around the bad, there are good ones. And Rebecca's there for the most of it. Things may change, but her friendship is one thing I will hold dear. We may meet new people throughout our lives, but that doesn't mean I will care for her any less. Which makes this whole business with the letter even more urgent. I still have one lead. With what's at stake, I can't let this curse win, if such a thing even makes sense when dealing with the supernatural. Tonight, by any means, I need to go back at that accursed place. Alone, because who knows what we might find in there. I'm just letting you know when I get to the mansion, and if the text is still the same, I'm gonna skip it because I've read that a lot of times on this playthrough so far. I'll just say what is different in the scenes, okay? So, because yeah, I wanted to see what would happen if Isabella died, but she got hurt, so all the dialogue's different, and I'm still trying to show it for the channel what was different by her being in a coma. So there's a lot of text that I'm rereading that I don't understand why it won't skip it, but they'll have one or two sentences in there that just mentions Isabella being in a coma. So whether or not the rest of them agree with this plan is inconsequential. Their well-being is my top priority, and I'm not just about to drag them in there with me. My apprehension must have been quite obvious in my face. In a sudden motion, Rebecca reaches out and taps my arm. Although she does it gently, it startles me nevertheless, and it's enough to put a worried look on her. For a moment, she studies my face, eyes scrutinizing, searching. But before I can even avert my gaze, keep her from getting a read on me, she straightens, her worry abruptly fading into a look of disapproval.
You have a plan in mind, don't you?
It's a simple yes or no question. I can easily lie, yet her tone completely bellies everything her words mean. I may as well tell her everything. When all is said and done, she's still one of the few people I trust. However, every vein in my body knows she'll be the first one to disagree, put her foot down, and stop me. And once she does, who else will be left to fix this? Zach? Her? I do understand her concerns, but there are times when they are misplaced. This complication isn't what I need at the moment. But what am I supposed to say? What is she expecting to hear from me? What answer will satisfy her? She certainly appears like she's hoping for more than a yes or no, for an answer I can't give at the moment. What else then? Keep her in the dark.
You don't need to worry about it.
A sigh and a lie. It's all I can offer, and hopefully this will be the last time I need to do so. That doesn't make me feel any less awful about this, though. It's worse when you know she's asking only because she's worried. Sure, I can tell her, but what good would it do? I've already told Zach, one person is enough. Hell, simply letting someone in on the plan makes me iffy. Broadening that circle and revealing too much would just cause another pointless concern. But someone has to be aware, at least of where I'm heading off to, in case things don't pan out. Expect the worst, even if I've only intended to do a quick survey of the place. In my own words, risky. Rebecca doesn't need to know the kind of danger I might be throwing myself in tonight. She should prioritize herself and her own safety first before others. But it's never that easy with her, isn't it?
Ashton, if this has something to do with that letter and that bloody curse, I think this concerns me as well.
Zach too, in fact.
I'm not asking for a thesis of whatever's going on inside that head of yours. But it'd be really nice to be informed, for once, this time.
Rebecca, I'm not...
What's keeping you from saying anything now? This isn't a case anymore. You don't even have to worry about red tape or bureaucracy or everything you've been complaining about before. Those things don't matter now. If you want this thing to work, if we're going to even live through this, you need to stop keeping people in the dark, Ash.
A thick, awkward silence hangs in the air. There are thoughts, stuff I want to say, but the words won't form, simply because uttering them is an admission. It's not even the red tape or the associated politics or my work that's the problem here. It's me. I've messed up a lot. But my friends are not supposed to be the ones taking the repercussions of my mistakes. Those are of my own doing, of my own responsibility. A fear, a heavy weight on my shoulders that Rebecca won't be able to grasp, even with her concerns. Because all this time, she still looks to me as if I'm the same kid from years ago, who she depended on when she has yet to find herself. Who she turned to for answers, despite my lack of them. It makes me all the more afraid to fuck up this time. And in case I do, she's the last person I want to be with me. Getting her into trouble. Getting her killed is not how I want to repay the friendship she has so generously offered after all these years. It's best that I simply leave things like this for now. That way, I won't regret anything I might say if we push this discussion further. Without another word, I stand up. At the same time, footsteps shuffle from the pub's entrance, and cheerful chatter suddenly fills the room as a group of people enters. It's all the distraction I need. Muttering an excuse, I beat a hasty exit out of the main lounge and leave her on her own, despite the look of protest on her face. When Ashton showed up at the pub's main lounge again, he found Rebecca alone in a corner. Even without him saying anything, Rebecca knew he had a plan in mind, something he refused to divulge, to Rebecca's irritation. When all was said and done, the woman strictly reminded him to stop keeping them in the dark. Before Rebecca can say what's on her mind, before the last frustrated glare she directs my way forces me to change my mind. It's another lasting image that firmly etches itself in my memory, one that spurs the conscious, among other things. I just hope I won't regret what I've chosen for myself tonight. Galaway Shawl's Monday night crowd, although small and barely occupies a quarter of the whole pub, provides ample enough cover for anyone who wishes to leave the place unnoticed. 4 hours is all I'm giving myself to get this done. 3 if I'm inclined to go by the rules Z-Man set, but when have I ever? Regardless of how generous that is, each second's just as important as the next. With a brief detour needed, I can't waste time dallying here. If this is all connected, I need that damn piece of paper with me, however ridiculous it sounds. If I remember correctly, it's among the stuff Rebecca brought that first night at the hospital. I'll find out soon enough. I just hope Isabella's aunt hasn't read or disposed of it yet. That'll be a whole different problem. So I hurry, one footstep over the other, echoing as I make a beeline for my car. But as with every plan, problems crop up at the last second. It's practically a universal rule. And it does, in the form of a long figure waiting for me next to my car. Rebecca turns just as I near, the corners of her mouth twitching up in a wry smile. She offers no greeting except for a slight tilt of her head. Even as my pace slows and I look at her with all the unvoiced questions in my eyes, she remains wordless. Because as much as this pains me to admit, I can't give her the same affection she's asking from me. We might have spent so many years alongside each other. Hell, we practically grew up together. But that never automatically means I'll ever hold for her feelings that goes beyond the boundaries of friendship. I do appreciate her presence in my life. I'm more than glad that she has stuck with me even through the toughest moments, even when she finds me difficult or aggravating. However, it's really all there is to it. She's a close, important friend to me, but nothing more.
Rebecca,
I draw in a breath, ragged, unsure. Uncertain how and which words to put together so it will hurt her less, so the wounds they might leave won't be as deep or scar. In the end, I can only utter an apology.
I'm really sorry, Becca.
Ooh, achievement unlocked, stark refusal. There has always been someone else. Yay, I did it, I think. Another achievement.
I'm glad, I'm happy you feel that way, but I can't, I can't. There's already someone that I'm in love with. Someone else.
It takes all of my willpower to force myself to even look at her. For sure there will be hurt, maybe she'll even be angry, but I don't hold it against her. And sure enough, when our eyes meet again, her mouth has already settled in a tight line, and she assumes a rigid pose. There's a sharpness to her gaze, but behind it is pain, undeniable, searing, something that she tries to hide by hastily looking away and stepping back.
Becca, I know this.
It's all right, Ashton. You don't have to explain anything.
Yeah, but you should. I should.
I told you, no need. It's not like I didn't have an idea or anything. When you think about it, it's really quite obvious. The way you've always looked at her said everything. Anyway, let's just end this conversation here, all right? I don't think it would do us both any good. This is going to get really awkward if we keep at it. When all has been said and done, at least I told you, right? Maybe I can finally let this whole thing go. Who knows? Thanks for hearing me out, though. I won't keep you long. I know you have things to do. Just promise me you won't do anything dumb, all right?
She doesn't wait for an answer. Instead, she flashes me one last strained smile before walking away, while the only thing I can do is watch her retreating back. Ashton left for the mansion at nightfall, but when he got to his car, he found Rebecca waiting for him. Fearing she might not have the chance, Rebecca confessed her feelings. However, Ashton couldn't reciprocate. Visibly hurt, Rebecca left it at that. She only wanted him to know. In that one moment, one conversation, something also breaks between us. Something irreparable. A different kind of regret. Haunting me amidst the silence of my car as I drive off and leave it all behind. The wind has already picked up upon my arrival at Ermengarde Hospital. Oh, you stopped at the hospital this time? Oh, This is different. Somewhere, the faint sound of thunder booms, filtering even through the concrete walls of the place. Though sparsely manned around this hour, the on-duty nurse's lively chatter easily fills the lobby. Some recognize and coax me into joining them when I pass by, but all of it has been turned down in favor of rushing straight to Isabella's room. Her aunt's nowhere to be found when I slip inside. On the bed, Isabella remains still, with a constant beeping of the machines as the only sign she still lives. Same as the other day, as well as the day before that, nothing has changed in her condition. And every single time I've stepped in this room, the sight of her weak and motionless still sends a painful pang in me. And when she wakes up, all this will be over.
Hey, scaredy cat. Hang in there, all right? I'm going to fix this mess we're in. And once you're okay, you're buying a whole month's worth of ice cream. Wait for me.
She won't be able to answer, not yet, but I imagine her laughing at me right now, daring me to make good on that silly promise, and I will. Finding the letter among her belongings doesn't take long. 5 minutes later, I'm fishing it out from one of the side pockets of the bag Rebecca brought with her before, the second night after Isabella's confinement. Achievement unlocked, snitching letters. Retrieve the letter before heading out. Ooh, nice. I got another achievement. To think no one bothered to throw this away, I guess that's lucky. I mean, look at this thing. I won't take it seriously if it isn't for all the fucked up shit that's been happening. This isn't the sort of stupid people pass along as a prank through emails and text messages, for fuck's sake. Do people seriously make copies of this and pass them around to try and save themselves from a possible curse? That's the inane logic that could be garnered from the fact that there are multiple victims. Was Isabella not saved because she simply shown us this one instead of sending 5 different ones? What sort of selfish person would even endanger 5 other people just to save their own skin? More importantly, what does this have to do with the mansion? There will be time for answers later. I wasted enough time here. Quickly, I stuffed the letter into my pocket. With one last look at her prone form, I close the door behind me and head back to my car. Within 10 minutes, I'm driving out of Luxbourne and heading straight for the Anselm village. Ashton dropped by Ermengarde Memorial Hospital for a visit before heading into Anselm village. Upon leaving, he promised the comatose Isabella that he would find a way to break the curse, and he wouldn't be able to do that without the letter still in her possession. In the distance, flashing of lightning lights up the horizon, white and sharp against the black curtain of the night. Thunder threatens with a rumble seconds later, echoing long across the heavens, and with one last roar, the skies open in earnest. November 1st, Tuesday. The rain falls in fast, steady sheets, creating shallow puddles on the dirt path, drenching everything the eyes can reach.
Look, I know you'd rather see Luke Wright choke on his own wine glass, but...
Damn right I do! He can just go.
But are you really sure you want to leave him like this?
What about Isabella?
Ooh.
She warned you, didn't she? And you think you deserve to even an ounce of her love? How dare you even confess your wretched feelings on her bedside? You can't even save her. You can't even do anything for her.
You're the one who took that letter off Isabella's hand that day. You're the one who opened it.
Who can tell my friends what might have happened here? They're at the crawl. You know the place, right?
Ashton Frey!
Hearing that voice, it's as if I've been doused with a bucket full of ice, cold water. Familiar, too familiar. And more importantly, it shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be hearing it here. She shouldn't be here. She should still be at the hospital, safe. Yet, this is the part where Johannes is choking Ashton out. So, Isabella's the one that comes to save him, so I don't know who's going to save him. Yet, it seems a part of me still hangs onto the sliver of hope that she'll be here. So without sparing it some thorough thought, I snap my eyes open. Of course, there's no one.
Did you really think she'd be here?
What's gonna happen?
Except for the murmur of voices in my ears, whispering phrases as sharp as a blade, each one as scathing as the next. Words that, although I know my own friends won't even utter, still digs a deep wound, seeping into me as if they're simply another truth.
It's useless, I'm afraid.
But repeat a lie often enough and it becomes the truth they say, and slowly, a part of me is starting to believe it. Damn it.
You are going to die.
Shut up.
I'm surprised you're still awake.
Another bout of pain erupts in my side, cutting off my words. A cry of agony bursts from my mouth. I can taste blood in my tongue as I heave, attempting to get in as much air despite the towel still coiled around my neck.
You bastard!
You're going to lose air quickly that way, Dummkopf. Better keep it shut.
Then he laughs, too cruel, too unforgiving. The way each note beats against my ears, in spite of the warmth in them, sends chills down my spine. This is a man whose hands have already been stained with blood before. He won't hesitate.
And you are going to die alone.
Oops. Whoopsie, I accidentally pressed enter.
And you are going to die alone.
That is such a creepy laugh. Always gets me. Okay, panic surges within me. Out of some instinct and desire to survive, I ducked hard, pulling him forward with me and quickly reaching over my shoulder to grab at his arm. Achievement unlocked, narrow escape. Get out of a tricky situation by a hair's breadth. And throwing him over my shoulder with as much strength I can muster. Something whizzes against my ears. The towel on my neck loosens. My head is pounding. In a rush of air, he lands back first on the floor with a heavy slap. Before he can even recover or make a grab at me, I'm drawing back my arm and bringing my fist down on his face. There's a moment of silence. Fuck. I can barely keep my eyes open, but in the next second, his grip on me loosens. He's out. And I'm... I collapse on the floor, dazed and gasping for air. Ashton attempted to fight back, but his attacker quickly disarmed him, looping a towel around his neck and strangling him. But just when he was about to lose consciousness, a familiar voice called out to him. From my peripheral, through the haze of blood rushing and sound slowly filtering back, the butler lay still, knocked unconscious by a man half his size and half breathing.
He'll be out for a while.
I have no idea whether I should laugh or cry at that. But it's done, and slowly, every tense muscle in my body eases, a long, gradual process of the tension lifting. For countless seconds, I remain quiet, with only my short gasps and sighs to fill the silence, allowing the adrenaline to ebb away and my breathing to slow. Not a true response by any means, but simply a brief respite. There's still the curse. I'm still inside the mansion, in imminent danger. I still have no idea how to fix this. Outside, the rain seems to only intensify. Lightning flashes fleetingly somewhere. White and piercing in the sky rumbles. No rest for the wicked. I stir minutes later once recovered, having regained some semblance of sense and strength. Breathing still hurts, but it's bearable, as is moving. Although every small motion causes a wince, there will be bruising tomorrow. I can manage. Retrieving my gun from under the bed is easy. But only with some effort, I'm able to drag an unconscious man to the far end of the room, snapping one end of the handcuff on his wrist, while fastening the other onto the bed frame. I feel so bad for Johannes in this game. Even though, Ashton said, his hands had blood on them before, he kind of just, locked him up to the bed and, sacrificed him to the ghost woman. I mean, he ends up dying. When the ghost woman is in front of all of us, you can hear Johannes' voice in the foyer. He was taken by the woman, so that should keep him restrained for a few hours while I'm free to get the fuck out of here and do what I've come here for. That isn't to say I'm all better. I still feel shaky after what happened. Everything still hurts, but this is a significant improvement from my previous predicament. Without another look back, I close the room behind me, ignoring the whispers and desperate cries still ringing in my ears. Power still hasn't come back when I make my way downstairs, tricky considering the stairs to the attic are a bit old. One misstep and anyone might end up slipping and falling. You're lucky if that's all that'll happen to you.
With the stairs this steep, A broken neck is a likely outcome.
With nothing to guide me through the darkness, I have to feel my way down, carefully listening for each creak and noise, checking each step I land on before placing a foot on it. Right on cue, the same board I'm stepping on creaks and suddenly breaks, the pieces falling somewhere with a dull thunk.
Oh shit. Scumbag wouldn't be too happy about that. Ow, foot.
Outside, the winds have intensified. Even from here, I can hear the gusts battering the window in the attic. It makes you wonder why, up until now, the only person I've encountered from this house is the butler. Although, to some degree, that makes sense. He is in charge of running the place. Where are the other servants, though? In this storm, wouldn't anyone want to stay inside? A likely assumption is they're all asleep. The route I've taken doesn't really pass by the rooms they've likely assigned as the servants' quarters. However, they have also heightened security. I brushed it off earlier, thinking they'll be posted a lot closer to where the master's rooms are, but the second floor is devoid of anyone as well, as if every inhabitant of this place has suddenly disappeared overnight. More importantly, where's that scumbag? I don't like this. I don't like this at all. The fact that I'm here right in the fucking middle of it makes me all the more queasy. And that feeling only escalates once I reach the landing and swing the door open, only to be greeted by the kitchen, pots, pans, and all. There's confusion as I look wildly around the place, wordlessly taking in my surroundings. With each turn and shift of my eyes, apprehension slowly dawns on me like a bag of bricks. Wasn't that door supposed to open to a hallway? But the pressing matter right now is... In one corner, Zach and Rebecca watches, almost as surprised to see me. McCullough's also with them, of course. She didn't listen to me, even if I've already exceeded the 15 minutes we've agreed on. Although color and strength seems to have already returned to her, enough for her to be able to stand unassisted. Okay, so this is where I'm going to start skipping it, okay? Because we've already seen this scene a lot of times in my playthrough, so I'm just going to skip it. Okay, still reeling from the attack, Ashton carefully made his way downstairs. However, instead of a hallway, the kitchen greeted him instead. Before he could understand what was happening, it slammed shut behind him and the whole mansion had started to shift. So all that's different here is that Isabella's not here. So, yeah, I'm just going to skip through it. I'm still going to kind of like fast read it to make sure I'm not missing out on anything, but still.
And you are going to die alone.
Zach, cut it out. Zach helps McCullough first, assisting her up and through the gap, before giving a hand to Rebecca. The moment the ladies are in, I nod for him to go through.
Go ahead. I'll watch your back.
Surprisingly, he does that without any protest, not that there's any need to. Sometime after entering this room, the whole place has calmed down. The handgun catches my eyes first, next to that smarmy smile on his face, while he holds McCullough, Zach, and Rebecca at gunpoint. Maybe I should eliminate the immediate danger first and disarm him? Just beg him to listen. I'm still sticking with my same choices because I'm just doing like one character dying at a time. Okay, Luke. We could probably skip over a lot of this, so... I had tried to get knackered, hoping to score another taste of mint while I was out in the city, though I can't bring myself to go home with another woman in the end. If I did go with someone, I might have been too late just thinking about it. No one might have gotten to Hannah in time, and I had gone home earlier than I intended. So here I am, sulking in a parlor chair with a glass of wine in hand. I can't even remember what particular vintage it is, and I practically did not care right now.
Cheers for something or another. A brat going away to college, a bonus at their job, couples having it off. Those happy things, I suppose. Whatever. I don't give a fuck.
A bit less eloquent than your usual speeches, but zum Wohl.
A sip.
Mint got me a bit into the whiskey, but other than that, I've been trying real hard. You can vouch for me, right, Joe? I haven't put my hands on a pretty lady unless they ask me to. Not that I did that before, but you get my point, Joe. I don't want Hannah to leave me, Joe.
Joe. I think that's cute. He calls him Joe.
Oh, God, she's the love of my life, you know? I'm a shy human being without her. I should...
October 30th, Sunday. Oh, yeah, I was gonna make their relationship bad, too. So, that's what I'm gonna do. Luke left Hannah in Johannes' care after the incident at the kitchen. Pissed off at recent events and a possible divorce looming at the horizon, he dedicated the rest of his day to getting hammered, stopping only after his butler intervened. Okay. Call for an ambulance. Okay. There's no thought behind it as I procure my mobile from my pocket and dial for emergency services. The curious looks thrown my way are largely ignored when I get up to my feet and make my way to the door.
Johannes, go and bring the car around. We'll meet the ambulance halfway in Anselm.
Ambulance? Luke, I'm fine. There's no need to call for an ambulance.
Yes, there is. Hobbs is obviously a gormless, incompetent muppet if he can't get you a hospital appointment today. After you've had a bloody goddamn seizure at that. I'm not waiting until you have another one.
With my back turned to them, I didn't expect any sort of resistance. So I was largely unprepared as Hannah grabs my hand and tries to take the phone away from me. It takes a bit, of course, considering how weakened the woman is with her recent condition. But I do not wish to hurt her by accident, and she soon slaps the phone out of my hand in protest, and I can only stare, wide-eyed and furious.
What in blazes are you doing, Hannah?
Emergency 112, this is being recorded. What's your emergency?
I am fine, Luke. There's no need for an ambulance.
God dang. When you choose the negative choices in it, like, it really stings, man. Like, ugh. Like, it's like cringe. Cringe, man.
We are not taking any chances with your health, especially since you insist that you'll be leaving soon. I do not want to visit one day only to find you bedridden and in need of a nursemaid. Or worse.
Hello? Hello? Do we need to send the police to break up a domestic dispute?
There's pause as the dispatcher's voice continues to ring out on the thing's speakers. It is all ill-timed and unwelcome, but that doesn't change the fact that it was already said. Domestic dispute, the words put a bitter taste in my mouth. What would the others think if they hear of this? It's not true, of course. We are merely arguing and this is normal. People argue. Our shouting stops, but neither of us make a move to pick it up until the butler does to answer.
My apologies, it is a mistaken dial. A butt dial, as you say. But there's nothing to worry about. It's just a young couple being melodramatic. You know how they are nowadays.
Can we verify with the affected parties?
I want to scream. There's nothing fine about this. But Hannah shouts and her words make me forget what I was saying in the first place.
I'm fine. I just need some tea, some rest, and some peace from you.
The anger in her voice is palpable. The way she looks at me, brows furrowed and mouth nearly a snarl, has me reeling. Of course she doesn't want me around. That's probably why she's leaving after all. She wants her space, my arse. It's all a bunch of excuses, a bunch of bullocks. Then the anger dies away and her face grows pale, eyes wide as she realizes what she's done. There's regret, but it's already been said and those words cannot be taken back.
I'm sorry, Luke. I didn't mean it that way. You're just...
Just what? Nosy, annoying, overbearing, belligerent, not wanted, stressful to be around? Please do go on and continue what you were saying before I so rudely interrupted you.
I wasn't going to say any of that. Luke,
No, actually, you know what? You're so desperate to be rid of me, I'll give you that satisfaction. You don't need to suffer my presence any longer. I'm going out. Don't bother waiting up for me.
Dang. I walk out of the parlor, rage in my every step. Come Sunday morning, Luke woke up with a huge hangover. To Anna's utter displeasure, regardless, she informed him of her plans to see a doctor back at the city, something her husband fussed about, immediately calling an ambulance, therefore irritating Hannah. Neither of them bothers to follow, which suits me just fine. But when I realize I still have the teacup in my hand, I can't stop myself from throwing it across the room. Porcelain shatters as it hits the wall and tea spills across the carpet. Outside, I need to go outside, away from this house, away from them. I need to breathe. Breathe. Should I throw them away? Looking at them brings only terrible thoughts, a horrible sense of ennui, if one will. They're for Mother. I want to confess, I want to cry out, break down for reasons that escape me. I've grown weak, but I choke because even Hannah, sweet Hannah, doesn't know the importance of these flowers. I could never bring myself to give that up. Everything else I've laid bare to her. Everything but this. Hannah knows me as Lucille Mitchell, son of Damien Wright, but not son of Eleanor Chandler. I've always feared that, even with her kindness, she would think lesser of me if she knew.
I was just pruning. No, I've probably killed the thing rather than help it. Why don't you make yourself useful and throw these away?
I shoved the flowers into Johannes' arms without a second thought, hoping that they'd misinterpret my guilty look for one of discomfort and annoyance. The guilt is ridiculous, though. Flowers do nothing for the dead.
You could have told the gardener to do it tomorrow, Luke. I know you're meticulous about those flowers, but asking for help isn't going to kill you.
I was bored. Anyway, what's done is done. You can clean up what I left behind in the morning.
I expect a scolding of some sort, but none came as she only shakes her head with a sigh. For once, I'm allowed to sleep without further incident, though rest does not come easy. October 31st, Monday. Though I'll deny it, I do find myself a tiny bit interested.
I called her secretary about taking the day off. He hasn't heard from her over the weekend.
Ever consider she might be putting her paycheck to good use? Probably somewhere out there getting drunk, having a shag. Ugh, and I envy her for it. As long as she's here for work, what and who she does in her free time is her business.
Hell, maybe she's found another client to sleep with. I'll commend her if that's the case. It's a good way as any to make connections and get business. I would be a hypocrite and a liar if I said I didn't get some of my business that way. Ooh, scratches the itch too.
That's all well and good, but she's not answering her mobile either. Mr. Parker will be filling a missing persons case with the police if she doesn't turn up today.
Okay, interesting as all this is, why bring this to my attention? If we've lost an interior designer, just find someone else to take her place.
If I knew that letting Hannah hire her would bring so much trouble, I would have stopped it at just the sex.
The last anyone has seen of her was here, the morning of the party. Your housewarming party.
That isn't good news.
It wouldn't do for the police to hear of this, and to suspect.
It's of little import that I can easily prove my innocence. It's all a matter of principle. November 1st, Tuesday. And from where I stand at the top of the stairs, I can easily make out their forms, recognize them even. It's all gone crazy with these intruders come into my house. I'm no stranger to a cop playing dirty. The smart ones knew that neither life nor criminals are going to play fair, and if one of this wog's sort is in on this, I'm not surprised too. But Daisy too? What will Kylie think of her Miss Pink if the poor tyke finds out about this? Not to mention Mint. Hannah trusted her.
Well, well, what have we here? If I were any less sober, I'd say this is the beginning of a joke.
Ooh. My decision is taken from me, however.
Why? Why are you doing this? And look at you, smiling like this is a funny joke. Don't you dare lay a hand on that woman. She didn't do anything to you to deserve this, did she?
Ooh, so Zach tries to demand for her release. To see the great black man like this is perhaps the most terrifying I've seen him. What little anger he is capable of feeling is clear on his face, lining his soft and kind features. He would certainly be a fright had the woman not possessed such a monstrous countenance that he cannot rival. There is a tired look in the man's eyes, contrary to the rest of his heated look. Clearly, this is a man who rarely angered and disliked being so. I have no doubts that it will take great effort for him to be anything other than pleasant. He's clearly aggravated, and he turns an accusatory glare at me.
Are you really just gonna stand there? Really? Come on, man, she's your wife!
It's because they made their relationship too low.
Oh, what the bloody hell do you expect me to do?
Well, you're doing a whole lot of nothing. I expected more from you, at least. This ain't right!
And maybe doing nothing is the best course of action here. Have you ever thought about that? Maybe, just maybe, I need time to think. Did you even stop to think that confronting her might make things worse? This isn't some bloody action film where me charging in is going to save anyone. One stupid move from any of us, and Hana might be dead because of it!
He grits his teeth and has nothing to refute my point, and it's obvious he's not happy about how right I am, and frankly, I don't like it either. The woman doesn't look armed, but that does not mean she's not dangerous. If anything, the fact that she's this confident, this unperturbed, while being barehanded is testament to itself. Either she's well prepared or she's just that crazy. And it's one thing to work with hostage takers and another thing entirely to work with the criminally insane. A hush settles over the room as she speaks up. Her voice is but a whisper and deathly slow, and I'm hard-pressed to hear it over the pounding of my heart in my ears.
Will you not speak up for her? Will you not try to save your beloved wife?
I cannot stop the heat from flooding my cheeks, shame turning me red and making me grit my teeth in anger. And that same anger sets a fire in me, burns through the fear. It spurs me on to call her out because of pride.
Why? Will my words hold any sway? Who's to say you won't snap her neck the moment I take one step? Do you take me for an idiot?
I take you for a coward. Nothing but a spineless coward.
It seems she's found what she's looking for, and that she has no further use for Hannah. A hand on Hannah's back sends her falling down the stairs. She's nothing but a rag doll, thrown away because she's lost interest with her like a child with an old toy. I'm frozen in place with Steele. He catches her, and that sends the two of them sprawling at the foot of the stairs. And I have to stop myself from lashing out at how closely he holds Hannah to him. It can easily be interpreted as a lover's embrace, and it does not help that I had the fleeting thought that she was cheating on me with him. But I let it go, as this is not the best time, even for my dramatics, and because he did protect her from what could have easily been a dangerous fall. The angry frustration from his expression bleeds out until he's all soft edges and a smile once more. He smiles up at Hannah, one that doesn't look platonic to my eyes, and suppresses a groan.
Ugh! I was not expecting that. She didn't hurt you, did she, Hannah?
And the way she smiles back at him makes me feel jealous, though I don't know who wouldn't be. Anyone would be lucky if Hannah ever so much as looks their way like she does with Steele now. If this were any other situation, this would be the straw on the camel's back, where I'd wrench Hannah off from him and make my fists do the talking.
Oh no, I'm fine, Zachary. And you? Are you alright? I wasn't too heavy, was I?
But if Hannah doesn't wish to be with me anymore, perhaps she will easily find happiness with someone else, even if that someone else is him. He helps her to her feet like a proper gentleman, and I suppose he's fine enough if Hannah would ever want him. I don't think anyone would be ever truly worthy of her, but if he is what she wants, who am I to say otherwise once it's all said and done?
Yeah, you're heavy. I'm a bit worried you would have crushed my ribs. But, I'm well padded.
Hannah laughs, out of breath, and she smiles at me, though that disappears as quick as it had appeared. We aren't quite out of the woods yet, and she hasn't forgotten what I did, or rather, what I failed to do. It is only fair, I suppose. I am nothing but a coward in her eyes, a sorry excuse for a man who can't even muster up the courage to protect her. And I nearly forget for a moment as I watch the two of them.
You do not deserve what you have.
Just hearing her voice triggers something in Hannah, and she starts to tear up, her face contorts into one of pain and fear. Zach is quick to place his hands on Hannah's face so that she looks at him and him alone.
Anna, look here. You're all right. You've got me and him. Between the two of us, you'll be fine, yeah? We won't let you hurt her again.
He reassures her with a nod in my direction, and I still think he's far too soft. I don't know exactly what in the bloody hell is going on, yet I can't find it in me to care, whoever these people are and whatever they're here for. Okay, so Isabella's the only one that's not here. It's a slow thing, a whisper more than a bang as the darkness creeps into every corner of the room.
What's going on?
Please!
Help me! Oh my god! Please, somebody! Anybody! Who are you? Stay away!
No.
friends. Why don't you believe me?
Isabella's in there, but she hasn't died from the coma, so how is she in there? Whoa! What? Holy... Achievement unlocked. Mighty Falcon Punch. Still Falcon Punch, but better. Oh my god, Zach's the one who punches Luke this time? He merely stands before me afterwards, without even batting an eye, glaring at me as if he might just rip my head off in this instant. Huh, he isn't such a weakling, I suppose. Still doesn't explain why he asked to punch me. Did he forget whose house he's standing in right now? Punching me like that? The nerve of him. And Hannah just stands there. Last I checked, she's still married to me.
That ain't no way to talk to a lady, sir.
Zachary, you didn't have to. Please, I'll talk to my husband.
Oh, why don't you let him say what he wants? Oh, do go on. Since that's what these peasants seem to do these days. Barge into your home, barge in on other people's business. No sense of decorum at all.
Keep talking about us like that, and see if any of us here will keep you out of this place.
One of us here in particular... Amidst the furor, Mint suddenly stands. I've almost forgotten she's here. Her ramblings have faded away in the shouting. And without warning, she snatches the paper out of my hand. It's a miracle it didn't rip right then and there. But the way she glares at it, I think she may just want to do exactly that.
It's this thing's fault! We should have gotten rid of this thing! We should have burned it at the first opportunity we got! There were children! Victims! All because they had no idea what this thing will do to them. Oh God, those poor souls. They were screaming and begging before she... This cursed thing has to go.
She's losing grip with reality, she is. A crazy woman is the last thing I want to deal with, for fuck's sake. The whole world has already gone bonkers as it is. Okay, so if Isabella's in a coma, we burn the letter because Marianne's there. Knowing the letter was the source of this entire fiasco, Luke Wright agreed with Marianne McCullough and started burning the paper. Soon enough, the blasted thing turned to dust, while the mansion returned to its usual state, freeing them. It's over. Okay, epilogue. Ooh. Something new. Unable to settle their differences, Hannah Wright eventually files for a divorce from Luke Wright. For several months, they become the subject of gossips and the mass media in the city. In spite of this, the two have uncharacteristically remained tight-lipped on the circumstances of their separation, though many assumed it's the inevitable falling out stemming from the trouble during the couple's housewarming party. To everyone's surprise, however, Luke Wright quietly accepts the court's decision and disappears from the Evans-Harris life without creating much fuss. Even after Hannah Evans has given birth to their children months later, the man is rarely seen around the family, merely leaving his children paltry gifts in the mailbox whenever he's in town, never showing his face. With the Wright couple's separation also comes the Wright-Evans conglomerate split up. Although the Wright enterprise still manages to do well in the business, with Evans Incorporated back as a competitor, other tech leaks places its CEO and the company under legal spotlight months later. This time, however, with the then Chief Inspector Harvey Lee's sudden absence, the businessman isn't able to escape close scrutiny. In an investigation headed by LPD's Detective Inspector Ashton Frey of the Wrights Enterprises' illegal business dealings within the past 10 years come to light. Although his involvements with other crimes is still being investigated, the disclosure has caused a huge outcry, especially from the city's business sector. Sued on multiple grounds, the company is ultimately forced to shut down. Oddly, when Luke Wright steps out of his office one last time, there's only a small smile on his face. Oh, achievement unlocked, saving your hide, abandon an already sinking ship. Achievement unlocked. Wow, I got a lot of achievements today. To avoid public outrage, the once affluent businessman immediately leaves the city. All of his bank accounts have been emptied, including his Luxbourne apartments, leaving not a single trace or clue where he might be hiding. The last anyone has seen of the man was on a flight bound for Ireland. Till this day, no one has heard from him, not even Hannah Evans. Even his people from the old Wright enterprise, who have all been left to deal with the aftermath. Though over the past few months after the situation has calmed, some have made claims of spotting him flitting in and out of the city. if only to check on those he has left behind. Oh, achievement unlocked. Her own woman. Find your feet and stand on your own after years of living in the ... Another achievement! Following the company's split, Hannah Evans reestablishes Evans Incorporated, becoming its CEO like her late father has always wanted for her. Though a bit out of practice and doubted by many people at first, the Evans heiress quickly finds her bearings and proves to be every bit as talented in the business as her parents. Soon, under her management, the new Evans Incorporated flourishes, becoming one of the prime investment and finance companies in Luxporn City. Wow. Okay. Despite making the Ireland branch of her interior design company her focus now, Marianne continues to cater to her most avid patrons in Luxporn when requested. And after her work on the Ermengarde mansion, Hannah Evans has never trusted another to handle the design for any of the place she owns. Upon moving back to Evans' mansion after her divorce, Marianne's name is the first thing she calls, and the woman is quick to fly back to the city at the socialite summons. Not only helping with the decorations of the old place, but also assisting with the renovations, much to Hannah's delight. Since then, the two women has kept a close friendship and business relationship. Often, they can be seen going around town together when Marianne's in town, and the Evans heiress can be heard recommending the designer to her peers during parties. Some may even go as far as to say Hannah Evans has confided with Marianne McCullough during the tumultuous time of her divorce with Luke Wright. Whatever the case is, one can't deny both women have found a confidant in the other. Oh, achievement unlocked! Ever in a day, they're happy and no one can fault them for it. Unknown to many, Hannah Evans has also played a huge role in getting Zach's new studio up and running. But for all of the latter's efforts to try and thank the woman, she insists keeping her investment a secret, as she merely wishes to help out. Having been impressed by his skills in the field during the brief time they've worked together. A working relationship that continues to this day, as if he's the only photographer she seeks at every single event she hosts, whether it's a simple social gathering or a company party. In recent months, however, they have started to speculate it may be more than what it appears. A rumor that seems to only grow with each sighting of the two together out in town on a weekend, and every visit Hannah Evans takes to the said studio, staying for hours on end. Sometimes even bringing her own children with her, who are especially fond of the photographer. Both has never directly answered what the real case between them may be, but whenever a soft smile appears in their faces when asked, many have simply learned to take it as proof and can only wish the couple well. They are happy and no one can fault them for it. Things have inevitably become strained between Ashton Frey and Rebecca Gales in the months following her confession and the man's eventual redaction. And with their new work and lives getting busier, the two have eventually drifted apart. Though neither talks about it, and the teacher still strives to forget an old flame, it's clear in Rebecca that there are still lingering feelings of bitterness left. If anything, however, this has only made it obvious how much has changed between them, and how much she has clung to the idea of Ashton from their younger days, the one that may not have been there in the first place. Merely an idea for a starry-eyed young girl. But if there will be a time she'll be able to accept this, to move on from the hurt and repair an old friendship that has fallen to ruin, only she knows. While he avoids the city like a plague nowadays after losing both his company and Hannah, he manages to drop by from time to time. Mostly to check on his goddaughter, Kylie Suarez, though the man still won't admit it when asked. Rebecca still regards the man as insufferable. She doubts it'll ever change. But after all she has seen, much as she denies it, she now considers his presence the closest thing she has to comfort. A similar sentiment the former businessman seems to hold, even confiding in the woman of his problems, petty or otherwise. Their friendship may be awkward at best, but with the grim reality of death having once shadowed over the two of them, it's something they eventually grow fond of in time. Ooh, achievement unlocked, dwindling hope. Optimism is the only thing they can hold on to. I'm getting so many achievements today. In spite of the huge changes in their lives, Rebecca, Ashton, and Zach never forget to visit Isabella Santos. Bringing little stories they have No idea if she will ever hear, but tells nevertheless, carrying a small prayer that they won't lose her. When they can afford it, they also help her aunt in caring for her. Something the woman appreciates, knowing she can be there for the sleeping girl every hour of the day. However, though they want to remain optimistic on Isabella's chances, it dwindles with every failed attempt of the doctors to bring her out of her coma, and each passing day the girl stays unconscious. Amidst the constant beeping of machines in her room, optimism is the only thing they can hold on to. Okay, it's time to see the other path with Isabella. Let's do it. Man, I've like restarted this game so many times already. Isabella.
Hey, I eat other things too.
Okay, so for this part, I still have not shown the letter yet. I mean, I still haven't shown the letter yet, but I'm gonna do that when I do my negative choices, I think. Because I don't know, because I think that just makes it negative. Just relationship negative. I'm not sure. I'm not really sure what it does, but I'm just gonna keep not showing it right
Rose,
now. Because look, it goes up with Marianne, so I think it would have went down with Marianne if I chose that option right now. So I'm just gonna do it when I do my negative choices. Who should I meet? Meet with the professor, I guess.
I'll think about it, but if ever, I'd like to give talking to
October 22nd, Saturday. Oh, bummer. Maybe I should rephrase it. My instant noodle days are over.
Okay, let me do that again.
October 23rd, Sunday. I wish you'd stop pestering me about them. I know you're trying to help. What is it again that Becca does when dealing with a particularly difficult child? But right now, I could thank him in the best way I know. You're not bad after all. I close the short distance separating us. Still, trying to be friendly wouldn't hurt, right? Talk about her job.
I'm just curious about your work.
October 24th, Monday. Here we go. I should just stay at home. Decline her offer. Let me look at the branching tree right now. Where am I? Ooh, I went up with this path. Stay at home. I have to decline her offer now. Decline her offer.
No, I'm not at the office. Ugh, never mind. We're not safe. Not anywhere.
What are you talking about? And don't shout. I was just inviting you to help take your mind off things.
The letter!
This again? Ghosts aren't real, Isabella. They're just stories made up to scare children.
You're always saying that, but look what happened to Rose. I know what I saw.
The police says it's a homicide case.
Didn't you see what's in her room? That's not something another human being would do. Come on, Rebecca. You have to believe me this time.
Isabella, I know you're in shock, but you have to wait for the authorities' findings. You can't just make assumptions based on some stupid letter you picked up somewhere.
You're still not going to believe me, even if someone else already died, no?
You know that's not what I'm trying to get at.
What if Zach comes next, or Ashton, or you? Did you see what she did to Rose? We're all completely powerless against her, and you still won't listen!
Isabella, enough already. Where are you anyway? At home? Of course you're at home. I'm coming over.
Forget it. The same. They're all the same no matter how much you warn them. I let the phone slide off from my grip and turn my attention to the news. Never mind that Becca's still on the line. She's never going to listen anyway. They never will. I'm all alone in this. At the end of the day, no matter how gloomy the headlines are, it's still a better...
The Luxbon Police Department continues its search for the following reported missing people.
Hold on a second. Missing? Aren't they? Still, I've got to check. Frantic, I open my laptop. The loud tapping of my fingers against the keys fill the room for the rest of the day as I look through everything. The background about the place, its history from the current owners, and list of employees hired under BRC. The night has fallen by the time I finish going through my copies of the documents in our database. Isabella Santos holed herself in her apartment the whole day after the devastating news of her mentor's death. More disappearances were reported that morning, most of them faces she was familiar with. She ended up having an argument with Rebecca Gills and ultimately refused the latter's invitation for dinner.
I wonder what's gonna happen.
And I'm right. Of course I am. BRC may have a lot of staff, they may have a lot of agents hired, but I remember those names anywhere. After all, they're also part of the crew who worked with us in preparing the mansion for the open house. Then the letters. No, that can't be. I hope it's not what I'm thinking.
But Rose is...
My train of thought gets cut off when my arms envelop me from behind. Achievement unlocked. Free hugs. I couldn't help but laugh. When Becca says she's going to do something, you can be sure she'll do it.
You didn't have to come over, you know. You have classes tomorrow, don't you?
Oh.
And I'm sorry, okay? I didn't mean to yell. I just didn't want what happened to Rose to happen to you, Zach and Ashton. I wouldn't forgive myself. I think I figured out something too. Listen, Rebecca, sorry. I need to answer that. I've skipped work today. Rose is gone and my boss is probably beyond furious. No doubt that's him calling.
She doesn't budge. Is she still angry? The phone's still ringing in the background.
Rebecca? What's gotten into you?
Ah! Oh my god, girl! What the hell? Dude, that freaking scared me.
You've unlocked a memory fragment. Hannah, achievement unlocked. FWD Isabella. Discover all endings for chapter 1. Yay, I did it for Isabella. Oh my god, I did, but it still says 82% because I have to finish all the negative choices in both paths of her being in a coma and, right? Or, I don't know, of her going to the movie and not going to the movie, right? Okay, so that's all I gotta finish for Isabella. Cool. October 21st, Friday. Hold on, I want to see what happened in the branching tree for the end for her. Ooh, she died. Oh my god, she's straight up dead. Not for ending 3. Ending 1, ending 3, and ending 2, she's dead. Oh, wow. That's crazy. Why must he treat me this way?
Yes, I am very...
Or perhaps maybe I should free up my schedule.
But I guess we can free up a day to meet with you.
October 26th, Wednesday.
Carly likes you well enough.
I'm not sure if I want to, though. Stop it.
I'll stop if it makes you uncomfortable, sweetie.
What's it gonna be? Should I tell the truth or tell a little lie? I was tending the garden.
I was just tending to the garden, sweetie.
So I will just call them out. I want to stick with the same choices for now. October 28th, Friday. Do I want her to be honest? Be honest with me.
Be honest with me, Marianne. I don't need someone to sugarcoat it.
It starts to make me think. I need to work for my happy ending. October 29th, Saturday. Ugh. Zachary. October 25th, Tuesday.
No, Rebecca's not in a good state, and...
His voice hitches and I fail to catch the last of what he's saying over the sudden racket on the other side of the line. When the noise dies down, however, he does not continue. This abrupt change in his tone, the unexpected hesitance to speak, puts me on the edge, and a different kind of anxiety clings to me. Something's wrong.
Here is where, Ash?
Apartment. Rebecca's. And Isabella's. Just get here, please.
He drops the call before I can ask more. Maybe it's just me or my sleep-addled brain, but in that short moment, he sounds almost as if he's pleading. The murmurs of the small crowd milling on the streets are loud against my ears, a contrast to the sleepy, laid-back reputation this neighborhood has built throughout the years. Despite sitting close to downtown Luxbourne, Samwell Quarter never did quite attract the loud crowd common to the city. Isabella mentioned once how the quiet bothered her in the very first few years here. She has grown so used to the routine clangor of the slums in her hometown, it has become the closest she has to a lullaby. She never did quite adjust to the kind of mom Samwell had. Yet now, I highly doubt she'd like this kind of commotion either, in her own apartment complex no less. Moreover, where is Rebecca in all this? I was hoping either one of them would be able to give me an explanation, but... A number of police cars and an ambulance are parked along the street closest to the compound. Given Ashton's tone over the phone, I already half expected their presence here. What's a little surprising are the news vans lined up on the road opposite.
What in the blazes is the press doing here?
The cold stone at the pit of my stomach grows more unwelcoming with each step I take, bringing a sour taste to my mouth. A handful of the curious has flocked near the building, probably waiting for something interesting to happen. Carefully, I weave my way through the thin crowd, only to be halted soon by a perimeter tape enclosed the 3-story apartment. My eyes dart around the busy landing on the other side. It buzzes with activity as several officers move in and out of the building, most of them in white suits, stained at the hems and gloves with a striking shade of red. I try not to think where those came from, but an idea has already planted itself firmly in my head long before I can stop myself. Ash must be in there somewhere, if this is that kind of case. I wait. And after what seems like a lifetime, he emerges from the building, his own gloves smeared with the same red shade the others had on theirs, and exhaustion evident on his face. Briefly, he scans the area, but quickly averts his gaze when he catches my eye. Without so much as a wave or an acknowledgement, he starts to walk off in the opposite direction while reading off the papers he has on hand with complete focus. I get that he's busy, but that's on a whole different level of weird. Not 3 steps later, though, he seems to think better of it. He pauses before wheeling around and walking back towards me. This kind of hesitance, while not unheard of from him, is only enough to fuel the sick dread clawing at my insides. He doesn't meet my eyes when he speaks either.
Sorry you had to be greeted by this.
You say that like this is something new to me. Come on, dude, after all these years, every time I see your name on the caller ID, I'm already half expecting something shitty went down again somewhere.
An expression, both pained and weary, crosses his face momentarily before hiding back under his usual mask of indifference. The rest of my laughter dies from my lips, replaced by a sound devoid of any mirth. Try as I might to keep the talk light, the thick atmosphere has become stifling at some point. I've always known how taxing his work in the police force has become since his promotion, seen it with my own eyes as a matter of fact. But right now, have things really gotten this bad for him lately?
Can't say the side of forensics is a pleasant thing to see in the morning. Anyway, where's Rebecca? You mentioned she's not in a good state. And then, we have this. Please don't tell me she's somehow gotten herself in.
Nothing's happened to her. They're just getting her statement. They should let her go soon.
He gestures with his head towards an ambulance parked a short distance from us. Her strikingly familiar hair is visible between the 2 officers standing nearby. Although I can't see her face, the tired droop on her shoulders is impossible to miss. Still, to see her unharmed is relief enough.
Glad to hear that. What's going on here anyway? Seems like you've got yourself another big case on your plate this time.
It's been classified as a homicide, but nothing conclusive yet.
A homicide? Another? Right here? Figures why the press is here. No, I don't think any of the 2 girls will appreciate you bringing the whole precinct here. Bella especially. Never did quite forgive Devlin, no matter how much she laughs about it now.
Isabella's not here, Zach.
A flicker of grief. Momentary in its passing, but it's there across his face at the mention of her. And in that single lapse, the stone in my stomach has firmly lodged itself up my throat.
Ash, what's really going on here?
A hunch, that's all it is. But if there's anything I've learned from him all these years, it's that asking the hardest questions are unavoidable if you want to get answers. Not in a word as harsh as ours.
Ashton, I asked you a question. Where is Isabella?
When he looks at me, I already know the answer. God damn, I already know it, but I want to hear it straight from him.
She's dead.
Oh, 2 words. None of it registers.
Dude, you know full well I find jokes like that in bad taste. If you need me curious about this, you got it done way before that came out of your mouth. Now answer the question properly.
I already did. What else do you want me to tell you?
The truth! Stop shitting with me and tell me what this is all about! God help me if no one tells me what's going on. I swear
I don't have time for this, Zach. I've got a lot of stuff waiting to be dealt with right now. I need you to make yourself useful and stay with Rebecca after they're done with her.
Let me through.
My hand's already on the tape, poised to raise it, but he's quick to move in front to bar me from crossing to the other side. It only serves to raise the ire bubbling up in me. The tone he takes doesn't help either.
I can't let you do that. This place is off limits until the investigation's over.
It wasn't a request. Let me through.
Dang.
What could you possibly want to?
You said she's dead! I want to see it with my own eyes, Ash! I'm not buying any of your bullshit until I've seen it with my own eyes! Now move aside!
Or what? You'll break the tape? March in there like some criminal above the law? Because I'm telling you that's what you'll be once you do! And I won't be able to keep you out of trouble this time, no matter how innocent you are!
Screw the rules! That is my friend in there! Just the other day I was talking with her. How can she be dead right now? How sure are you that she is? All I'm asking is proof, goddammit!
It's not that simple! We're following a protocol here. And friend or not, you have to stay in line while forensics finishes documenting the victim's body and every fucking thing in the goddamn scene. Now back off, sit down, and let us do our work.
Dang.
Don't make this harder for us, Zach.
What? You make it sound like you don't even know her. Ain't she your friend too?
It's not that. You don't understand. Right now, she's nothing but a dead body. We need to...
All I saw is red. Oh! Achievement unlocked! Falcon Punch! My anger subsided just as quickly as it erupted. The next thing I know, he's on the ground, nursing a bloodied lip and a bruised cheek with an unreadable expression in his eyes. My fist falls to my side, limp and forgotten. The papers and photos he's been holding on to all this time flutter uselessly to the floor around us, as if to mock me. His rage would have been better, far easier to deal with than the wall he suddenly built up around himself. With it, there's only hurtful words and ugly truths, no puzzling guessing games that leaves you thinking for days on end. I shouldn't have let my temper get the better of me either. I want to apologize, say something to remedy the situation, but my mouth has gone thick with fear and remorse all at once. I can only look at my feet, no longer standing close to the boundary I threatened to cross earlier. And that is when I see it. Understanding dawns on me, violent enough to shake me. With trembling hands, I reach for the scattered photographs off the pavement.
Oh my God! What the fuck did it do to her? Oh my God! Like her fucking ribcage was fucking tore open! A sick burning feeling immediately rises up to my throat. Purely on instinct, my eyes move in every corner of the print, searching for any sign of tampering, for any discrepancy, for any hope that this might be an awful prank. But try as I might, I can't find it. Ripped apart. There's no other word for it. She barely looks like herself. In fact, I wouldn't have known it's her if Ashton hadn't mentioned something earlier. When I think of her, all I see is this person who has rarely ever lost the cheer in her voice. Often upbeat, rarely dispirited. Now she's nothing more than a mangled mess of blood, flesh, and splintered bones. Her head is bent backwards, the eyes and mouth open in a silent, empty scream. A hole in her torso, big enough to expose her insides, gapes open at me. It's as if a savage beast has torn it viciously open and feasted on it, every organ mutilated and butchered beyond all recognition. Blood pools from the open wound, drenching her and the floor in a deep shade of red. I can smell and taste it without even being there. When finally I look back at him, Ashton's shoulders have gone rigid, his eyebrows are drawn in a tight frown, his jaws are clenched tight. I recognize the frustration, his frustration, for what it is. It's not that Ash doesn't want me to see her, he simply doesn't want her to be seen in this state. It ain't how he wants her to be remembered. I struggle to find the words, anything to fix this god-awful misunderstanding. This ain't what we should be doing right now. But he only looks away as he pushes himself off the ground.
Ash, I don't know what came over me.
I won't be pressing assault charges considering the situation. I've got things to check with the other officers, but don't go thinking you can easily cross this line without me here. The other police types won't be as forgiving. Go check on Rebecca. She's probably the one who took it the hardest.
Without another word, Ash gathers the papers littering the ground, ducks underneath the perimeter tape, and walks away without so much as a backward glance.
Oh my god! That is so messed up! Like, doing the deaths is so hard because they're so gruesome and... Like, I thought Marianne's was bad. Fucking Isabella's is worse! Oh my god! Jesus! Zachary received an alarming phone call from Ashton, pleading him to go to Samwell Residences immediately. Upon arrival, Ashton bluntly informed him of Isabella's death. Frustrated over the news and Ashton's seemingly indifferent attitude, Zach punched him. Alright guys, I'm gonna end this episode right here. Oh my god. Isabella's death was so gruesome. That is just messed up. Like, I knew by choosing the different endings, like, they were probably gonna end up, like, either maybe surviving or maybe dying. I don't know. Like, the last time, you know, she ended up in a coma, so I thought maybe this time it'd be, like, maybe along those same circumstances, but no, she's dead. She got killed by the ghost. So, wow. So I guess we're just gonna have to see what happens in the next episode. And after I'm done with Isabella being dead for this playthrough of the game, well, a quick playthrough, I'm gonna try to do it as quick as I can. In just this episode, we got a lot of achievements, so I was really happy for that. Let's see how many we have left. Okay, so I have 97 out of 172. So I'm hoping by doing the other characters' deaths and then doing all the negative choices, hopefully we'll have all those achievements filled up. The next person I'm gonna have to kill off is maybe I think I'm gonna do it like this. We're gonna go with the friend group, you know, Isabella, Zach, Ashton, and Rebecca. We're gonna kill those people off first, and then we're gonna do Hannah and Luke. You know, they're kind of separate stories if you think about it. Okay, so this is how I'm gonna do it. We killed off Isabella. Next will be Zachary, then it'll be Rebecca, and then Ashton, and then we will go for Hannah and Luke. Since their stories are kind of separate, we're just gonna do it like that. And then when I'm done, I'll do all the negative choices. I will show what showing the letter does and stuff like that, and we'll see what happens. We'll see how many achievements we can get. So anyway, share the content. If you're enjoying my playthrough of the letter so far, please leave a like. Let me know what you guys thought down in the comments, and make sure to subscribe and click that bell button so you know when I upload the next episode of the letter. And if you have any recommendations for any games you'd like me to play, you know, this game will be done soon, hopefully within the next few episodes. I'm gonna try to get through it as fast as possible. If I don't have to do a lot of reading. You know, I have a list of things that I want to show on my channel. If you recommend a game to me, I'll kind of serve that as my first priority. Otherwise, you know, in the winter, I do plan on playing Until Dawn and all of the Dark Anthology series.
like Until Dawn, Man of Medan, Little Hope, House of Ashes, The Devil in Me, and The Quarry. I want to kind of do all those kind of games. They seem really cool, and yeah, so if you have a recommendation for me before, wintertime comes, because I'm getting a PS5 for Christmas, so just let me know. So thank you guys so much for watching. You guys have a great night. Bye.